Sarah, in college, every single student struggles. That's just a normal part of life. So, can you just share, like, what is something you have or are struggling with, and how were your parents able to helpfully support you through that?
Yeah, I think something that I heard that was a common experience for a lot of my friends freshman year was you come to Baylor and you're meeting all these new people. There's a bunch of fun ways to get plugged in, join clubs. Baylor does a bunch of things that make our first year experience so amazing. And even in like a lot of my freshman year, we won the Big 12 championship. We were amazing in football, and that was like my first semester. It was awesome. And at the same time, I was meeting all these new people, and I had a couple different friend groups that I was going between, and you have all these people you're spending a lot of time with because college makes everyone an extrovert, and at the same time, none of those people like really fully know you, and so it's really easy to get caught up and be like, man, I feel like I'm spending all this time with people, but it doesn't feel the same as your friends from high school usually, because your friends from high school usually have known you from when you were a kid, and you're super close with them, and no one really knows you past like what your major is and what you like to do. And so I think that was the hardest part, was getting to that next level. And there was low moments, and particularly for me, October and November of my freshman year, where I was saying very specific prayers about like, man, Lord, give me some really solid friends. And through ways I would have never expected, those prayers were answered. I've got tons of stories about that. And so I think what dad and mom did really well, especially them being in Waco, they could have been very hands-on. They were very hands-off. And that let me struggle. And I think hitting those low points of like, man, I don't feel like I have any like real friends, I think was really my biggest struggle personally. And then when you do, come December and January, and when I was starting to make those like real relationships and have those great conversations with new people or the same people that I was going deeper with, I thought that was allowed me to experience the full joy and feel like, not that I'd done it myself, but that the Lord had answered these prayers, and I had made these authentic relationships, naturally. And it, again, it comes in ways you don't expect, and so you can't. There's ways you can help it, but you can't force it. And so, I think mom and dad did a good job of kind of letting things run their course, and the Lord has always provided for our family and for me. Like I said, in time, like when we moved on to Waco, I didn't expect that to be the biggest blessing of my life, but I would be the person I am today if we hadn't. So,
thanks for sharing that, Ben.
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm going to cut to you, Dr. Eckert. What was that like as Ben was struggling from you and your wife's perspective?
Just listening to him share that, it did take me back to freshman year. It's so hard. And here's the thing, I've been teaching on this and working with school leaders for years, that there is joy through struggle. And if we rob our students and our kids of a chance to struggle, then we also rob them of joy. Because the depth of the struggle kind of determines the peak of the joy. And it's really easy to say that, and it's really hard to watch. And so I felt a bit like a hypocrite at times, where I wanted to kind of like ease some of the struggle, and there were things we could have done that would have done it, but then I don't think he would have experienced the depth of relationships that he found. And then many of those guys that he started going deeper with in January and February of his freshman year, there's going to be in his wedding when he gets married. They're the guys he's lived with now the last 2 years. And so that was critical. And it's even harder watching your daughter struggle, because there's something different about a dad and a daughter than there's the dad and the son. It's kind of like, oh, he'll be fine. And Ben he was always a pretty resilient kid, and Sarah has been too, but it's just harder almost watching your daughter struggle through those kinds of things as well. And she's in the middle of it because she's a freshman, and so she's been figuring all that out.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us, what are some struggles you have had, or if you feel like being vulnerable that you're going through?
Yeah. I think it is hard because you don't have a friend group, and like you leave high school where you kind of hang out with the same people. A lot of the time you like know them super well, and you have this like schedule, and you know when you're going to see your friends. And then you get to college and you might not have classes with them, and you don't have a group yet. And so I think that was really hard for me, and like not having a structured like schedule as much, because you don't have class for 8 hours a day, which is awesome, but also it is just less structured, and you have less time with other people, and you feel like, oh, everyone else is hanging out and I'm in my room by myself, and that's just not true. And I've been very blessed by my roommate. She's so sweet, and we always would hang out, watch TV shows together. But I think those first couple months, it was an adjustment of, oh, everyone else seems like they're all doing all these things. And in reality, like, it's just, you're just seeing different aspects of college life, and not everyone's hanging out without you. And you do eventually get a good group of friends. And now I feel like I've had a much easier second semester as far as having a group of friends. And you just meet a lot of people, and it's really fun, and to just know a lot of different people. So
Yeah, I think what's helpful is even hearing your stories of fall semester is painted as, this wonderful first semester, and it is. Like, we have literally won awards at Baylor for having the best first year experience, but it's such a transition for the student and for the parent. And so it's cool to see your redemptive arc already happening in the spring semester for you, Sarah, and then how that happened for you, Ben.